And I believe we are now loaded in. So here on the top right-hand side of the map, it is SpeCial.
And I hope he gets scouting, because this man down here, he is not waiting for anything. And in fact, he's not even building a 15th SCV, known for his aggression and also his ability to play out a game from even the messiest situations. In the bottom left-hand side, it's Jinair Greenwing's Maru.
Yeah, he's in the top side as well with 2 barracks. That is a lot of barracks. SpeCial is going to scout around, though. You mentioned it. He is known for his aggression. Is he going to be expected to be aggressive in this instance? At least not right away, not in the right direction from SpeCial.
Oh, there's so much about knowing your opponent in this matchup. SpeCial's going for an expand off a gas opening here, barracks gas, by the looks of it. He'd love to get a quick command center up. And the thing is, he's going to put his command center down. He's going to scout and go, hey, where's your barracks? Oh, gosh. And he's going to have to scramble to get bunkers up as quickly as possible as SpeCial.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to put a command center down, though, right? I think he'll get the scout off before deciding for it. Hopefully. No, Peg, please hold me. Okay, he sees.
Okay, that's very well timed. Yeah. Okay, he needs a bunker yesterday. I mean, he's got so little gas. His factory is just not going to be ready for so long. So, honestly, this is all going to come down to that first
love it. You got to love the bunker positioning, though. He is really respecting this.
He could jump in on the very far right-hand side. That's much further away from the rally point. I mean, if SpeCial can keep the first Reaper alive, get the bunkers up, get a Hellion or 2 out, he should be fine. Maru, remember, this is double 14 racks. This is the fastest, most aggressive 2 racks Reaper you can do. But, hey, those bunkers are well-timed. He should be able to hold off the initial wave at least.
Wow, even a Marine just popping out right in time. Do we start Mexico chance at this point? This is looking pretty good. Right?
I mean, this looks amazing. If it wasn't Maru, I'd be like, hey, this is really good, but
yeah.
he makes comebacks. Yeah. Dude, he can navigate these murky waters, but oh my, okay, no, now it's really bad for Maru. If he loses that Reaper, that's rough.
Yeah, and this Reaper inside, okay, the second Reaper now joins in. SpeCial has to be careful not to lose his own, but with those SCVs and cleansing, and both! All right, he's doing it, Piggy. This is a solid hold.
My God, that was the SCV blocked one. The other Reaper turned around to try to protect it. It went down as well. Now look at this. SpeCial sends 1 Reaper across the map, and he's going to go and try and backstab and see if he can pick off those SCVs. He's got an amazing hold. There is a quicker command center for Maru, but his tech is well behind. He's down 3 SCVs. SpeCial here with a fantastic hold to start things off.
Incredible, and thank you, Mapu, for the story on that zoom as well, because that little supply depot also played a little bit of a part, right? Like SpeCial really thinking about the little things, trying to make the pathing in and out of his base a little bit more difficult as this is happening, as he is defending against Maru. It's just super, super impressive.
And, you know, just to remind, I'm sure there's people wondering, of course, both of these players residing in Korea right now. So they're both playing with absolutely no lag. No excuses for this one just yet. But SpeCial, of course, is going to be building up and looking for some counter aggression. A Hellion drop to try and get some damage on the other side. But the scouting barracks of Maru sees the Hellions popping out. So that's a very good use of that barracks. He checks what the follow-up is. And this tells Maru that he's just got to lock himself down defensively. He's actually going to be going Magfield Cyclones behind this. That's a cool follow-up, Cats. Do you think he goes into mech behind this, or is this just to get early control?
I imagine mech is the more likely way to go about it, but I like that he's switching it up and doing something different other than just playing with the same units from behind, right? Like, I think he's looking for edges where he can find them, like maybe catching a medevac or something of the likes would be really nice for him, and that's what what might end up happening here for the Cyclone in an ideal world for Maru.
He's got a boost out of there, does SpeCial. Ooh. Yeah, just leave, just leave. You see that many units of SpeCial, and suddenly you realize you do not want to be doing damage. I mean, this Hellion drop just needs to be really conservative. Look, Maru would love to run out there and lock onto it. So at most, you want to be using this to punish Maru if he comes to pressure you on your side of the map. But you don't want to go in there. Cyclone's the absolute best, most flexible defensive unit.
I love how chaotic Maru's production tab is, right? Also making Banshees and Cloaks, so he's really committing to this strange techs and really looking to fight the game on different fronts than you would normally fight, I imagine. I'm not an expert in TVT, but this looks very unique to me.
Absolutely. I mean, this is... Banshees are always a bit risky. We often see a cloakless Banshee come out in this matchup, and Maru, he's hunting for that Hellion drop so hard. But SpeCial is shepherding this tank push across. One tank, and that's like, what, 12 Marines, 3 Hellions. There is a tank in a bunker going up at home, but Maru, he's very fragile. These Cyclones, high damage, but they go down very quickly in a pitched battle.
Yeah, I think Maru was not looking to fight here. The tank, though, gets the first volley, and SpeCial is going to look to perhaps commit regardless if he can take this tank down fast enough, but it doesn't look like it's going to go down. Still, he's doing some economic damage here. 9 SCVs have fallen. Is that enough? On his side, the Banshee arrives.
Yeah, that Banshee coming in at the perfect time. It also stopped that third command center from building. So SpeCial taking really big damage. And I mean, the timing of this was perfect. It went in just as SpeCial wanted to make his push work, and it even gets out of auto turret range. Insult to injury there.
Yeah, Cloak's about to finish, of course, so that's good news that the Raven pops out. But yeah, Maru did what he wanted to do. He played a weird, strange game, barely holds on. And I love that SpeCial wasn't, you know, showing too much respect to Maru, and he moves out when he feels like he can move out. And it looked like a strong move out pick. What went wrong?
Yeah, I think it really was just that he felt forced to get in there a little bit too hard and fast. And I think it was an okay trade for SpeCial, but about as good of a hold as Maru could have had there. Yeah, now Maru coming in with his own counter swing. One Banshee does go down. Ooh, nice snipe on the siege tank with the mag failed Cyclones.
Yeah, that's huge. One siege tank will siege on the side of SpeCial. So that's decent, but oh, okay, the Banshee will fall. And now with this Viking, I think he can land it between these two siege tanks and maybe force them to at least retrieve. You can always pick that up as well in the medevac. Hello? Okay.
One more auto turret maybe is gonna be going down, but yeah, not combined with anything. And I think at this point,
oh my heart.
That's rough, man. That is rough. Nice play there. I mean, this is what I said, you know, you're like, hey, isn't this great? Should we start chanting Mexico in the chat? And Maru's like, how do I come back from this? You called it out. Not playing super standard from behind. He went for all the kind of very special plays, the Magfield Cyclones for the control, the Banshees for the backstab, and he really opened that game up.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did, right? He looked for those places where he could find he could fight with different units. He could punish his opponent. We saw opportunities, right? He could have grabbed that medevac earlier from SpeCial as well. Like that would have been a way for him back. So it's not like he was putting everything on one basket, hoping that SpeCial attacked them or anything like that. Though that ended up working out really nicely, primarily I think because of the Banshee on the backstab, right?
Absolutely. And this is one of those things. It's hard to get perfect information, and there's a lot of little, you know, to the untrained eye, imperceptible edges you get from this aggression. Maru had 100% read of what SpeCial was doing, so he was fully informed. Remember, not only did his Reapers get in and see what the setup was, he could see it was a delayed factory initially into the double bunker. His barracks flew through, and he knew the Hellion drop was coming. So everything was made with knowledge of what was going on, whereas for SpeCial, you could look at that and go, oh, why didn't you just defend and be safe against Banshees? He had no information to work off, and that's what naturally happens in that situation as the defender. He felt the urgency to get across the map, do a sharp counter pressure. Usually, that is what sound logic tells you to do. I'm ahead off my defense, let's go put the hurt on my opponent. Maru just kind of dances around him, slides the Banshee in at the perfect time, and somehow he turns it into a winning position very easily.
Yeah, SpeCial's gonna have to summon all his 15 plus years of experience of StarCraft to come back mentally from that game pick, because I mean, you're going up against a player that just beat you after things looked as good as they possibly could have. As you know, that early game from SpeCial was so very inspiring. It was so perfect, I thought, and everything went so very well. I mean, you like you said it, right? Like 14-14, you're cutting SCVs for that if you're Maru. Your first 3 Reapers die without damage. How do you come back from that? And you know, and this kid just
the question we'll be asking. Remember the wise words, anyone out there as a Terran player trying to get better? Just play like Maru. We'll see exactly if that trend continues. We're going into map number 2. It's Death Aura. And of course, he needs to win 2 maps in a row to bring it back and keep his chances alive. Up here in the top left-hand side, in the red, it is SpeCial.
And in the right side, it is Korea's Maru.
I'm loving these little intro bits for the players.
Yeah, you like it?
Gets me hyped, man. Gets me hyped. I love a bit of music coming in there, getting us excited for this series. And I mean, Death Aura is always an interesting map. You know what's kind of cool is people tend to complain about like the slow zones, and then they were saying the fast zones are going to be just as annoying as the slow zones were. Here on Death Aura, I feel like we don't see too many engagements happening on those bridges where these accelerator zones actually are.
Oh, let's be honest, Pig. They're so conservative. Like, this map is a standard-ish map with bits of fast zones that really don't do anything. And I think this was a little bit of a test, right? Kind of like, okay, let's introduce the fast zones, but we don't want, like, you know, something to change too radically or something of the sorts. And I think it's a very conservative approach. So I think I've seen him come into play like once or twice, and it's mostly been things like disruptor shots and otherwise nothing. I would like to see bigger fast zones and more, you know, relevant locations.
Do they speed up disruptor shots?
Yes, sir. I think that's where people get confused, and it worked. Yeah. It was pretty awesome, actually. Some great disruptor shot I saw.
Awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't mind things being a bit more out there, but as we said, of course, the players, I think, happy with these more conservative inputs of the crazy map features, you know. So
yeah, I mean, I think human beings feel more comfortable in general with like less chaos and like knowing things. But, you know, if you challenge them not to know, you'll get the best out of them, I think, because they'll be forced to think. And I think that's why the weird map in Golden Wall has produced, in my opinion, some of, if not the best games that we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I really like it. You know, I'm still someone who's hoping at some point maybe we get a 9-map pool with like a little bit more variety in it, a bit more veto power. So depending on the players, you get, you know, a different flavor here or there as well. And go a bit more wild with having 1 or 2 really crazy maps in the pool. And even if they don't come out that often, hey, you know, when you get a Haas series up against a Bly or something like that, you know, you'll get the 2 players who are willing to engage in the wild situations. But I guess we should talk more about this series with lots of Hellions and Reapers on both sides. And I mean, this is just going to be kind of like the Zergling-Baneling war of TVT, where it's like, hey, I'm making a lot of things to attack. I'm also making a lot of things to attack. And the way the Hellion splash and the Reaper grenades land is going to decide this fight in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, it's going to be very volatile. So let's see this first engagement. Maru going on the side. So SpeCial's not going to see him coming, and potentially Maru's going to get a very nice line of fire here to start things off. SpeCial has more units, however, and a medevac arriving as well. So he's actually going to be on the chase, and this goes really well for the Mexican.
Yeah, that third Hellion rallying out right there. The danger of going to the other side of the map from Maru does end up paying off for SpeCial, who's going for a much later command center, only just now starting while the orbital's already on the way. A tank and a Viking coming out for Maru. He's even building a bunker on the high ground. He realizes how desperate this situation is. That is a ton of Reapers and Hellions bearing down on him.
Yeah, this is really, really strong from SpeCial. And now I think, Pig, you are the TVT expert here, so please, what happens here? What's going on? What are we looking for? Is he looking to end? What a beautiful move. Goes into the main, actually kills all of the units of Maru. There is 1 tank remaining in the backline, but all the SCVs exposed, Pig.
He's got to protect the SCVs from the Hellion splash, but there's only 1 Hellion left, so I think Maru here, about as good a hold as you could have hoped for. I mean, that was such respect, man. The tank, the Viking, even a bunker on the high ground. But those SCVs, I mean, that's something where if he gets 1 more full volley off on those stacked SCVs, bam, massive damage. Maru is way, way behind. As it is, though, he's got the quicker orbital. And look at that third gas on Maru's natural already up. You know, you've got the natural not even finished from SpeCial, but Maru, he's going to get the faster Ravens out now. He's got the tank out earlier. He's up 1 siege tank. He stabilizes, he takes a deep breath and says, okay, we made it through this early game. I've got a slight lead going for me.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. A SpeCial committed for those earlier units. Only gets 4 SCVs and mining time, so the game's definitely scrappy and kind of weird. And I imagine even Maru having to pull all the SCVs from his main is not a thing that he does often. So Both players are going to be definitely a little bit shaken by that game. It still doesn't look like it's decided either way, right? Like, not even close.
No, it's still very close in the numbers, but I want to see SpeCial be very flexible here, because look at this. Maru's reading him like a book. The Viking blocks the Raven. Not just that, he scanned just when Viking production started off that reacted starport. So Maru knows SpeCial is not going to have his own Raven count in terms of like 2-3 Ravens. He knows there's going to be a Viking advantage and a potential kind of air superiority push coming out of SpeCial. But because Maru knows that, I mean, he's going into his own Vikings, he's got his own Cyclone out, and I think he's just so mentally prepared for each stage of the game. And I think Maru, you know, up until now, it feels like he's had a very good read on what SpeCial's up to. But as you said, still very close in the numbers.
Yeah, and SpeCial's going to have a scan of his own, so things are going to even out in that regard. I'm not sure if Maru is aware of the third of SpeCial yet. And no, he's not. And SpeCial actually did drop that third on site, so he is taking a little bit of risk here and there, and I think this could pan out well for him, as he was a little bit behind in economy. He's kind of caught up now, but Maru will spot him.
Good scout here with that Marine from Maru. Does see the third command center, but yeah, I like the idea. Takes the third on location. Both of them going bio, but with a big investment in Vikings first. Now this is where things get kind of interesting, because if you just keep producing Vikings, well, that can give you just massive control over the skies, allows you to spot for your siege tanks, and any fight that happens, you're just shooting all the enemy's medevacs down, right? So having the Viking advantage is really huge. But if one player is just slightly behind on the Vikings, or maybe a bunch of Marine hits land on their Vikings, suddenly if you start losing the Viking control, it gets really awkward for you. Neither player really has any medevacs, just one for SpeCial. So they're not going to be able to use stim and run around the map a lot. It's going to be much more slow, methodical siege tanks, Vikings vying for position.
Most definitely. Hey, Pig, how much do you think the SimCity, looking at both players' SimCities in the main, how much do you think that plays into the Hellions being able to, or not being able to do much for SpeCial early on, right? Because if you look at that factory and that barracks, there's a giant wall where the SCVs run north there as this is happening, and 6 SCVs go down, as well as a couple of Vikings, or just one.
Yeah, a bit of a trade there, you know, 6 SCVs going down. Oh, the push on the front, or the attempted push on the front from SpeCial. But he's actually taken out the Ravens from Maru. So Maru not having Ravens right now. This is a nice positional advantage. SpeCial in range of that command center.
Yeah, but Maru sieging 2 tanks in position as well to take down the first tank of SpeCial. This is a wonderful positional advantage, as you mentioned, very reminiscent of what he was doing to Estrella, kind of keeping him on the back foot and looking elsewhere, and then moving in the front unannounced. This is really nice moves, and I think SpeCial might be able to punch back here.
Whoa, the anti-armor missiles just ruined Maru's Vikings in that air fight. And look at this, lovely position is held. The Vikings want that orbital. That orbital's very low right now. Oh my god, that orbital he cannot afford.
But he can land it now. Oh, too late! He realized, no! SpeCial, I think, gonna kill the orbital, no?
Oh, I think he could have.
Goes for the Vikings. That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, sometimes they're repairing SCVs. They're just trying to help, but they do cause trouble sometimes. Ooh, almost gets a tank there on the retreat. All control for SpeCial here. He's just opened this game up lovely. Just the way he dropped in the main and then hit the front at the same time, took out the Ravens, grabbed position there. And look, even with this little squad of units, he is being so annoying.
Yeah, and it really is the Maru effect. We're talking about SpeCial opening this game. If it was Maru in the same position, I think we'd be talking about closing it.
Yeah. He does hang on. Never count him out.
Oh, you can't. You just can't. Yeah, it's the Maru effect. Yeah. You cannot count him out.
You gotta. He'll always make you play for a few more minutes and keep fighting, and he'll like find a drop in. I mean, even that game 1 Maru versus Raynor, like Raynor held up what was a 2-base all-in, was way ahead, right? And then you suddenly got Maru just being like, oh, by the way, Liberator in a mineral line, Liberator another mineral line, 4 drops in your main, a drop here, a drop there. And I was like, oh god, is he actually just going to claw this game back? Because he was massively behind in that map. But Maru, he's got that comeback power, and it's his understanding of which risks to take. You know, which basket does he place all of his eggs into? A tactical mastermind.
He really is. And at this point, you know, SpeCial, I really like the respect given to Maru here, not overextending, not overstaying, right? He realizes the other third has been taken and just picks up and goes from a position that was eventually gonna get cleaned up rather easily whenever Maru felt like he had enough. So good patience as well from SpeCial, who takes a fourth faster than Maru and has definitely got a lead to work with.
Yeah, and, you know, maintaining that Viking advantage right now, taking the second factory. He's trying to get a drop in. Of course, Maru very well positioned right now. And I think Maru just realizes, look, the way back into this game is through very good defense. And, oh, that drop does pull back. Upgrades is what is confusing me a little bit right now. Did SpeCial completely forget his armory?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a little bit scary, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a big delay. I mean, Maru's upgrades were late, but let's see. Some fights are going to happen. It is 1-1 versus 1-1. It's just, if you're going big macro like SpeCial is, if you had 2-2 started as well, you'd be kind of getting even further ahead. As it is, it's Maru who starts +2 a little bit earlier, and the armory only now starts. So SpeCial realizing he doesn't have that. He's still got a ton of money to work with, though. He's got the bigger army. He's got the air advantage. There's a lot SpeCial can do. So he's going to move out, start posturing, looking for position.
This is a good position to take, but remember this turret is no longer present, so the position is more going to be to siege onto Maru's main if SpeCial is able to find it. Maru already ready with one tank in the main, and SpeCial will just get to siege one barracks for the time being, so nothing too threatening at the moment.
Yeah, the Vikings, of course, are going to be very good for control there. And the fourth base is now up and established. 4 base versus 3. Taking out a barracks would be a nice little bonus there. He's going to do a nice double drop to the left, dropping on top of some of these siege tanks. Taking a few of those out. The Vikings looking for the control where they can. But the Marines of Maru land some big hits. And air control turns around. Maru has the Viking advantage.
Yeah, both of those siege tanks barely surviving. And there is a better version of SpeCial out there that drops the Marines, you know, right next to the siege tanks. And both of those siege tanks definitely die. So, you know, you have to speak about the pressure of this game as well, and the position that he finds himself in. Closing a game against Maru is never going to be easy for anyone ever.
Lots of medevacs out now for SpeCial. He's going up to 8 medevacs, but that air control going to be something Maru looks to leverage. He's got a good tank count, 8 siege tanks. He's adding 2 liberators, which are going to allow him to dislodge these siege tanks, but losing his already very limited barracks production. Very frustrating for Maru to deal with as SpeCial postures down, looks to snipe this 4th command center. A big army moving down, but Maru moving to intercept it.
Yeah, and 2-2 is about to kick in. You talked about this, Piggy, and I think it's a really important point to make. That is where Maru will have a power peak over SpeCial. It is not yet, but actually Maru has a very good positional advantage and will choose to engage onto the tanks of SpeCial. This is a very, very good trade.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward engagement there from SpeCial. Does lose his tank advantage, and he's down to just 6 tanks versus 10 now. He's still up a lot of Marines, a lot of medevacs. I still think there's a lot of potential play with drops, but I mean, you can see that Maru is just kind of pinned in his corner going, okay, we just got to really take efficient fights to get back in this. And up till now, he's done it. And you know what? He's got a 5th command center on the way. His upgrades are continuing. His Viking count continues to grow, and I feel like one of the best ways to really force his advantage through, it's either, if you're doing this Marine style, you've got to kind of find an opening, right? You've got to rotate around and find an angle, which he has not been able to do in the last few minutes. It's been going Maru's way the entire time. The other option is take control of the skies. And the thing is, he's going into Ravens now as SpeCial. So he's going to just ignore the skies. He's going to actually use Ravens to break siege tank locations and use Marine superiority to jump in there. The danger with this is Maru has the Viking advantage. And oh, speaking of which, oh no. So yeah, I mean, the efficiency is there for Maru. And the thing is, he's got a 2nd and 3rd starport. So I think that air advantage is going to continue to grow. I feel like SpeCial needs to combat him in the Viking war. Going Ravens, it can definitely work out. But if these engagements don't go quite right, you're going to see those Ravens not land their spells correctly and things will be rough. Drop on the right-hand side on top of the siege tank. SpeCial vying for position here.
Yeah, and he's going to get it too. Very good upgrades as well for SpeCial now as he catches up on the 2-2 with Maru. Takes a couple of siege tanks and, like you said, gets a good position. But maybe respecting Maru a little bit too much. He's going to decide to kind of weirdly just pull back. I'm not sure I like that too much.
Yeah, I mean, temporarily it's not the worst thing. He's got a lot of money. He's still got a great army. He's got a big Marine advantage. But as you said, I mean, really, we want to see him start to shove his way through. The fact that Maru is so established on 5 bases now, he's got the extra command centers coming out. He's really growing in a big way. And SpeCial has to start finding openings, and I really want to see him using a lot of scans to find the correct angle.
Oh, here's what you were talking about. He's going to disable 2 of the tanks and actually find a very good position, segregating this planetary fortress on the left side of the map, and this is going to be pretty good for him, I think. I think now he can bring in some of those tanks. The Liberators could be a little bit of an issue, though, as there is no air superiority like you were talking about, Piggy.
Yeah, those Liberators going to be really annoying him. The tanks are in range of the planetary now, so this is a very slow pushback from Maru to clear SpeCial out of here. But if SpeCial overstays, he may take a lot of damage. The Marines are going to stim on the planetary, but the repair is good. I think Maru might just try to bust through. There's a lot of tanks there. Lots of Marines going down on that 4. Oh, this is so close.
Get it! Okay. That's good. A couple of siege tanks are left, but the rest of them will be picked up and evacuated. And this is a successful attack for SpeCial, who needs to keep the economy of Maru down because that is the lead that he has acquired for himself. And it is the lead that he is leaning on. He has added extra command centers. He has added extra orbital commands. So he won't mind trading a little bit of army or trading a little bit inefficiently when he's maxed, as long as he can keep the economy of Maru down.
I think at this point, I would really like to see SpeCial start to split some drops around the edges and the flanks of the map. He knows he's been ahead economically, and Maru can't really cover every front. For now, he's focusing on the front, of course. It's all about the interference matrices on the tanks, and using that to kind of wedge his siege tanks forward. He's got to keep those Ravens safe, though. One moment where those Vikings of Maru land on his is going to be problematic, not to mention the fact that the Raven count of Maru is also growing now. So Maru's army getting just as complex, just as comprehensive as SpeCial's. And right now there is a 2 upgrade advantage on the bio for Maru. So SpeCial does not want to fight for another 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be just those 30 seconds that Maru's going to have an opening for. Now, I would really like, honestly, to see SpeCial take a book maybe from Euthermal's playbook, or a page rather, and add some Thors or something, because otherwise these Liberators are going to be so problematic. There's only a couple of them, luckily for him, but I don't see, you know, like, it seemed like SpeCial couldn't fight the army of Maru. It could only run away while killing a base. What's the solution there, Piggy?
Yeah, anytime they both just siege up and sit there, Maru's army is more dangerous. And what's kind of cool is Maru, even though he's got air control, he has not neglected his Marine count. He's only down 6 Marines here. Ooh, does overextend on that side. But the Libs, the Ravens are there.
It's a huge missile. Well, SpeCial is definitely not going to want to engage, but it's also going to be difficult to push into him. So it's not the end of the world either.
These Libs so annoying here. Maru
I hate him.
Kind of bullying SpeCial around in this corner, and as you said, he's kind of pushing it back up against the wall here. I do worry about the longevity of this situation for SpeCial. You know, he's getting worn down a little, as we said, and I think his advantage is finding weakness in Maru, right? If he can kind of be the one to winch things open and find the weakness within the Korean Terran player. But look at that push. Nice Marine move forward. He's going to get rid of that planetary fortress. Quite a few Marines go down, but a very quick trade here for Maru.
Yeah, I love this, though. I think this is the best possible move for SpeCial right now. Knowing that he cannot fight those Liberators and that he's going to continue to get pinned back, I think using this for position is fantastic. And actually, Maru pulling back is one of the best things I think that could happen for SpeCial as well, because he has so many more bases. Okay, I lost a PF, so what, right? Like, now how do you dislodge this if you're Maru? It's going to be hard.
Yeah, I think SpeCial needs to disengage, though, from this situation, potentially, as the tank siege up. Interference matrix is all over. Oh my god, Dorito dust on everything. We got interference matrix on both sides. So much damage going down, a huge trade. Lots of SCVs falling, these Marines in the main. They've already killed a few Ravens and units. They're taking out more siege tanks and things as they pop. But finally, it looks like these Vikings going to clear this out. SpeCial, though, he did make the best of what looked like a very bad situation. At the end of that, it's 5 bases versus 5. And I mean, if we kind of look at this as the dust settle, is there any pivot? Is either player changing their focus? It looks like no. It still looks like just Marines, tanks, Ravens. But the Vikings remained for Maru. And that's what I've got to give him props for. The fact that he didn't just A-move those Vikings into the Marines and get them all taken out, he still got the advantage with those, and they're going to give him so much efficiency the longer this game goes.
Yeah, by proxy of having those Liberators to work with them in tandem. But I would say SpeCial still has an economic lead off of all of that. He had the greater number of orbital commands. And I think he can still very much push Maru to the edge here. I think he's still in a very good position to take this. It's been a great game.
In income. Yeah, I think, honestly, you know, Maru, his ability to come back when things look rough. Remember, he was down 20 SCVs and was down a base for a long time, but a series of good engagements. And I think after SpeCial, I think he got a little sloppy in those. He started to play very tight now. Like, he's looking really crisp. But Maru has found his way back to a situation where it's a very even army in these fights. And now we do see a funny swap. 26 Marines for Maru, 72 for SpeCial. So SpeCial, he's way more mobile. If he can shut down the siege tanks, he can just blitz this army with the Marine count.
The PF is gonna stop the advances of SpeCial as the rest of the army for Maru repositions here. And yeah, I'm with you on what you were saying here, Pig. I think this is gonna be a very difficult game for SpeCial, regardless of all the advantages that he has accrued for himself. Maru is just kind of godlike, but it has been a great and very even game thus far.
Yep, slow advance from Maru, really methodical. Remember, his siege tank count is what it's all about here. And with 10 tanks on the front, that's really hard to deal with.
Oh, everything getting Dorito as well. And yeah, this is really rough. It's those Liberators that force SpeCial to pull further back and further back. And he's never getting traded for it, right? Like, sometimes the tank will take a shot from the Liberator and then you just sad face if you're SpeCial. Otherwise, you're losing terrain and it's sad face either way, right? But and the best thing that you could do is not lose or not take shots onto those tanks, right? Like, that's the best he's hoping for over and over again. He just doesn't have an answer for those Liberators.
Well, the stim forward grabs a few tanks, but that may have been an overextension for Maru. He does turn around after taking a few big hits. And this is it, as we said, you know, without having the Viking control, the Marines are good when you're the one forcing movement as SpeCial, when you're the one who's outflanking him. But it's Maru who's pinning him back across the map, and I think SpeCial just has to go around. He's got to cut this army off, similar to that previous move. If he just fights front on, this is going to be so hard.
Oh, God, I think this is the end of it. Oh, wow, the tanks get disabled, but a little bit too late. Oh, if that move happened a little bit earlier, that might have been the engagement that SpeCial gets to clear the entire army of Maru, but instead, all of the energy on the Ravens will be spent, and it is now Maru in a very comfortable position on the driving seat.
Yeah, he's got that big advantage. The tanks, the Vikings, the Libs are still there. The more technical army for Maru winning out here when it was pushing SpeCial up against the wall. Heavy Marine, an amazing composition, but it's all about the movement and the mobility. And you can see here that it's Maru who just keeps pressing him up against the wall. And anytime we think the Marines are about to get a good fight, they go into the line of tanks. And it feels like even with the front line getting interference matrixed or shut down, Maru's always got another 5 or 6 tanks behind that. It's just too many for Marines alone to deal with.
It is so very sad. SpeCial found himself in favorable positions in both games, I think clearly so. But Maru with comebacks that have looked spectacular. SpeCial, of course, is still trying to do whatever he can. I like this drop. It's a little bit late. He's already lost a couple of bases and a lot of his units. And now he's actually just going to look for a flank instead, maybe looking or trying to find those Ravens and the Vikings. No, he's just going to go inside. I think, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's just a slow death at this point. I think it's so difficult. He's pinned back all the way.
Yeah, when your opponent has Vikings, tanks, Libs, their real fear is Marine drops, it's counterattacks, it's getting caught out of position with such a clunky kind of siegey army that really is not very mobile. But at this point, Maru's got the entire map. He catches some Ravens, this drop over here trying to buy time. I mean, SpeCial is actually buying a lot of time to rebuild his army. The problem is that those tanks are still right outside his base.
Oh, okay. So this could be good. Realizing that the Vikings are not there, it's going to take a few of those tanks. Like 3 or 4, so for a medevac full of Marines, not too bad at all, but he still finds himself pinned back, and now the rest of the army of Maru is back. I think this is the final engagement of the game. A SpeCial is gonna get cleaned out and will have to tap